Welcome to Better Fishing with Two Bald Biologists, a podcast from the North Carolina Wildlife Resources Commission. We're your hosts, Corey Oakley and Ben Ricks, two bald guys who happen to be fish biologists and avid fishermen. We hope the information that you learn in this podcast will help you think like a fish and become better fishermen.
Hey guys, this is Ben Ricks with Better Fishing with Two Bald Biologists. Corey, how you doing?
I'm great, man. Can't complain. Spring is here.
These are exciting times.
They are. People fishing.
And they're catching?
And they're catching. All good things. I wish I was fishing more and catching more.
Right. So a while back, we were at let me get the name right, the Raleigh Saltwater Fishing and Boating Expo.
Bass and Saltwater Fishing Expo.
Pardon me. We were at the Raleigh Bass and Saltwater Fishing Expo. Great event. You should put it on your calendar for next year.
If you like fishing,
we will be there.
Good. Yeah, we'll be back. As long as it doesn't snow 10 feet, just saying. That's true.
Right before that event, we get an email from one of our biologists, Seth Myko, all things
bass.
Yeah, the bass fishing biologist is, I think, what his email signature says.
I think so. I don't know if he's got a corner on that market because I'm sure there's others.
It's not trademarked,
but it's close.
But it is in his signature. Great guy. And he said, hey, while y'all are at the expo, make sure you check out the Warrior Fishing guys. I was like, okay. All right. Thanks, Seth. Appreciate that. And then just so happened that they were right across the aisle from us. And I was like, we've already met these guys. So was that.
We had to sit and look at them for 3 days.
Right. And so
then they had to look at us, which, sorry for them.
But the good thing is Warrior Fishing Inc., right?
Take a Warrior Fishing Inc.
Take a Warrior. See, I already got it wrong. Wrote it down and got it wrong.
You had a pin across it. That was your problem.
He did have it covered up.
Yeah, that's okay. Let's start over. Take a Warrior Fishing Inc. They're all about fishing opportunities. And the Wildlife Commission is kind of in favor of fishing opportunities as well. So we found some common ground and we talked about getting on the podcast and talking about that. So here we are.
Yeah. So who do we have?
We've got Ken and Pete, the Grand Overlords.
I like that.
The High Warriors.
The Grand.
Wow. That just got real.
You're welcome. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, the Grand Overlords of Take a Warrior Fishing. And so what are you guys trying to do? Introduce us to kind of your goals, your objectives with your group.
Well, we're strictly a non-profit 501c3 that our objective is to pretty much get our veterans, active duty, reservists, National Guard, veterans in general on the water at a zero cost experience. We use expos as an opportunity for us to go out there and kind of share our mission with other people that don't know who we are. You'd be surprised when people come by, then they see all the wonderful photos and they're thinking, oh, these guys are a charter service. But we're actually like, yeah, you could say essentially we are, but we do it for free. And we do that. We use expos as an opportunity for that. We host 6 events. Well, this year, 6 events that we're doing. We're crossing over state lines for the first time ever since the inception of Take a Warrior Fishing Inc. since 2022. So our first one, we're crossing over into South Carolina. Lake Greenwood is going to be our first event. And I think the fall event, or second to or third, I think September, is when we go to Carr Lake up in Virginia side. So for the Virginia side, it's Kerr Lake, but for the North Carolina side, it's Carr Lake.
Or Bugs Island, depending on
Yeah, that's right.
It is Carr Lake.
It's
and
Carr
I'm
Lake.
going to die on that hill. And you can email me at twobaldbiologists at ncwildlife.gov. I'd love to have that discussion. If we don't get right, it's fine. So agree to disagree, but it's Carr.
But yeah, that's pretty much what we do. Our goal is to, fishing hills is pretty much our mission motto. We know that a lot of our veterans come from all walks of life. They've experienced a lot of either like combat related PTSD or experiences that, we know that being on the water kind of makes that healing process worth it for them. They can put all their worries and everything kind of like to the, backside of them at the parking lot. And then once they get on that water, they're meeting a boater or a charter captain for the first time. And, It's just for them to have a time to relax and just, even if they don't even catch any fish, which we've had happen before on many trips, it's just the photos. If you see them smiling.
That's not rare. You come fishing with me, you'll have a lot of trips where you don't catch any fish.
Oh, I was going to say the same with me. I'm the guy that needs to help. But that's pretty much all what we do. Right now, I think as of today, I signed up a few warriors, and we're a little over, I think, 1,230 warriors and boaters and volunteers are within our database.
So this system, I think I'm hearing what I'm hearing, but I'm just going to check it. Pete and I actually know each other, so
We do.
Pete's going to be eyeing me from time to time, and
I'm going to lovingly look in his eyes from time to time.
You hear that, Chelsea?
That's right.
Yeah, that's right. I want to speak to your wife about that.
I don't know what's happening.
It's been derailed already. So basically, if they sign up with your program, it's an opportunity for them to come fishing. They don't have to bring anything but themselves. They just have to find a way to get there. Maybe even if they can't, maybe you can, do you do that as well if they can't get there? I mean,
We haven't actually done that yet, but the option would be there. We would try and look at all our resources to make that happen. We understand some warriors don't have means to travel.
so they come, you have these different events set up. Generally, are they around bass fishing? Is that what they are right now, or is what anything?
We do one bass-centric tournament, which this year is April 19th. It's the Sunday. On Jordan Lake. That's our Spring Warrior Clash. Good place to be in April to bass fishing.
Success might be high.
Yeah, should be, hopefully. The others are usually multi-species events. We depend on volunteer boaters. So not everybody's a bass fisherman. A lot of folks here obviously are. But there's a lot of folks that crabby fish, a lot of folks that catfish, a lot of folks that just go out to fish. Whatever they catch, they catch. So it provides more opportunity there as well by pulling those multi-species in. So
It's really about just the opportunity.
the opportunity. And then the one-off trips. So like if you're a boater, if you're listening, you're not signed up with us and you're going to practice for a tournament on a Tuesday or you have a seat on a Saturday, you can sign up and you can email us and say, hey, I'm going out on, Saturday, January 13th, and I've got an extra seat. I'd love to take a warrior, and we'll make that connection.
Oh, wow. It's not necessarily at the event itself.
No, the events are just a way to get a mass together and provide a little
Sure.
competition, show them what tournament fishing is a little bit. But those one-off trips, we get a lot donated in the salt from offshore to inshore. We get a lot of local bass guys that are just going out to fish and have an empty seat that'll put it out there. A lot of our local crappie guides will take trips if they're not booked and reach out and have a warrior come out with them. So it's opportunity, not just in our 6 events, but 365 days a year, hopefully. And how many states now?
So last year, kind of the irony behind all of this was started off with just North Carolina. We're now in 13 states as of last year for fishing trips, individual fishing trips. So the word is getting out. And we just recently, today, I talked to a gentleman up in New Hampshire, of all places, and he wants to know what he can do to start what we are doing here in North Carolina up in New Hampshire. And we just selected 2 directors of warrior relations and services, one in Wisconsin and then one in Minnesota or Michigan.
I would like to change my title, Director of Warrior Relations. Somewhat fitting.
At times it is, for sure. It's
I like
different.
it.
The definition of warrior is different.
That's right.
Absolutely.
So they get in touch with you. They get signed up. It could be one-off. It could be one of these events. They get there, and y'all basically provide everything. The gear, the opportunity, the gas, the everything. It comes at no cost to them.
No cost. The one word that we like to talk about a lot, especially at our meetings prior to an event kicking off or even with our individual events, is just we streamline. We want the warrior, the boater to show up. We want it to feel like they're number one, which they are, all the way through into the very end when they're leaving.
And if you're new and haven't done it before, people get concerned about licenses. For our big events, we always use the NCWRC's waiver program so we can get young soldiers that may have just gotten here, or folks that have never done it and want to experience it for the first time, gives them the opportunity without having to purchase a license for that first one. And most of those folks end up going out and purchase a license because they realize that healing and just being out in nature and they kind of get the same addiction that we all have. And then the one-offs, obviously, they would need to show proof that they have that and ensure that they provided a license.
So I'm asking a lot of questions. You can tell me shut up anytime. Ben does it to me all the time.
It doesn't work,
Doesn't
but you
work.
can try.
I keep going. So say Warrior A comes to the event, guy or gal comes to the event. has a great time, can they do multiple events? Like they keep coming
absolutely.
back. They don't have to stop at one of it. Like it's not a one and done kind of thing. They can have that opportunity over and over again.
Yeah. So I'm going to use a little story we had met. So first of all, we work with military installations throughout North Carolina. Fort Bragg instance, their BOSS program. BOSS stands for Better Opportunity for Single Soldiers. So when I was in the military, I was a first sergeant. My biggest thing, I was a big proponent of this program is to get my single soldiers out of the barracks, out from doing things that young people do when they're young. And I didn't want them getting in trouble, and utilizing this program where they put them on fun trips and stuff of that nature. So we reached out to them. Well, Dwayne reached out to them, and then I just kind of like followed through after him to kind of keep them on board. And they bring out about 10 to 15 of their BOSS soldiers to our events. So this one soldier came out, right? Now, y'all know if you see a bass boat, right, and you see that 250 on the back and you've never been on it, it's kind of intimidating at first. It's like, for me, I guess my analogy would be like NASCAR on water, right? So
It can be quick, yes.
she was looking at the boats as they were launching, right? During their
Blast off.
blast off, and she was like, "I don't want to get on that boat. I'm not doing it." And we had to kind of coax her into it, like, "Hey, this is safe. Don't worry, you're going to be fine." She finally got on the boat. At the very end, she came in. She caught I think with Steve Lopper, one of the great guy, put her on the fish. She had the smile from ear to ear. Her confidence went through the roof. And that's what it is. We're empowering our warrior community to do something outside of the box. So she came back in our November event and ended up winning first place for catfish category. And again, that smile was there and that confidence was just beaming from ear to ear. So yeah, it's just a great thing that we do. And we recently just reached out to Fort Jackson, South Carolina, because Lake Green was probably about an hour and 40 minutes away. And they're all on board. So Fort Bragg contacted, Fort Jackson, said, "Hey, these guys are legit." I mean, there's a wait list now when Fort Bragg signs up for our events, which is awesome. And, we allocate these slots, which will lock them in. So if we have 10 slots available, then 10 slots will go to whatever Fort Bragg or Fort Jackson. The rest of the slots will go to the other warriors that are signed up. And so Fort Jackson is now on board. We're just waiting to finalize some paperwork for, their side of the house. Cherry Point is on board as well. We got them on board. Still working with Seymour Johnson Air Force Base for their, the Marines are called Single Marine Program, or SMP. And for the Airmen, it's the Single Airman Program. So just really cool that we're able to get out there and reach out and just kind of let them know, hey, this is opportunities that you have available for your single soldiers, airmen or Marines, and veterans in general, just getting out there, getting out of the house. Wife nags you, whatever.
We don't have that at our home. Just want to go on record.
Nope.
Hi.
What is that like?
Just saying.
Actually, my wife will go fishing, so
Mine too. And she'll tell me to leave and go fishing. So.
Yeah, matter of fact, recently we just purchased our 25th wedding anniversary boat, and she had a 90% say in which boat we were going to buy.
Hold down. Write that down. 'Cause I'm at 23.
I love
You're
you,
right
Joe.
there. It's time, Corey.
I'm at 23. Now,
If you need a letter of endorsement or anything, I've got you. I can whip some
we need
together.
to let Amy in on this 25th wedding anniversary boat.
Seems fair.
You got a ways to go.
I don't care.
I don't.
I got seeds to sow now.
I think if there's a 0 or a 5 in it, you can probably swing it.
Oh, my word.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, every 5 years.
Good upgrade. You know what I'm saying?
No, honestly, if we can just go with the 25th wedding anniversary boat, I'll probably be good. I mean, I'll make it happen. Make
I
it
think
work.
we're done here.
We're done
I'm
You
here.
could even say you had a dream, you woke up, and it's already 25 years.
Yeah, I learned much today.
Yes, we can podcast over. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
No problem.
I mean, I had a wedding engagement shotgun idea that paid off for me. But this
This is some of the best.
pro tip,
This is the best pro tip we've had on the podcast, I think, in the 4 years we've been doing this. Anyway, sorry, we digressed.
Oh,
I
no, that's
apologize.
all right.
You brought it into the space, and I was like, well, we should just use this.
I have to start shopping for my 25th wedding anniversary boat now.
I wonder if they have magazines. They do, don't they?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So one of the things that I've heard you say a couple of times, and I do not have the same experience or same story that the folks you take out fishing, but what I heard was it's just so great to get them out on the water. And I'll be honest, when things are crazy in my world, getting out on the water is probably one of maybe one or two things or three things that really just kind of do that for me as well. So I definitely that resonated with me when you said that. And I can only imagine you got a lot on your brain. But for me, one of the things that really helps is one, just being out there helps. But two, for me, fishing requires a lot of attention, a lot of focus, and a lot of, at the level I try to do it, which sometimes works out, sometimes it doesn't. But I'm always paying attention to everything. As I'm paying attention to everything, it's actually the one time where I'm not worried about the stuff back home or the stuff in my head or those other things. And so that's one of the things that I really enjoy about fishing, is because it puts my focus on trying to catch a fish and everything else just kind of drifts away.
Yeah, you have that. But it's also, think about any time you fish with a friend or somebody, there's conversation throughout the day. And you're not thinking about that conversation. So you find yourself, we get out with these warriors that have, and trauma have had their experience in life and in their service, and they just talk. And a lot of times they start talking about things that me being around that and working in public safety for many years, have those demons that you need to talk about. And hearing them talk about it without even realizing they're talking about it, they're just relaxed and at peace, and they can get rid of that stuff. And at the end of the day, I can go to Trey, who Corey also knows, who fishing in the old, what was the tournament series they used to run on Jordan?
I don't know.
Warriors on the Water. That saved Trey's life, and he'll tell you about it. If you listen to him on any show he's been on, he'll talk about it. You hear them tell that, and when you look at Trey and I can look at each other, I can look at Ken, and you're like, man, that person really needed that. They didn't know they needed it, and they weren't even realizing they were doing it. But to be able to have free conversation where nobody's judging you, you're just out on the water with a friend you just met an hour ago, but we're not pushing you to try to talk about things. You're not in a doctor's office. You're just there in nature.
Yeah, there's no hidden agenda. We're not trying to sell you a timeshare or car extended warranty,
But maybe a 25th anniversary boat.
Maybe a 25th anniversary boat. We might try to convince you.
And I noticed he wrote it down and he highlighted it. So
Circles, gold stars.
Yeah, it's all of the above.
But yeah, there's a lot more, and we're all lucky we've experienced that our whole lives, but a lot of folks we've learned have not. And I think we take it for granted as outdoorsmen and anglers. I grew up on a boat fishing with my dad and grandfather and doing that stuff. And I know both of you have similar backgrounds. A lot of these folks have never experienced that, so they don't know how cathartic it is to be able to get out there in nature with nothing to think about but trying to catch a fish with a brain the size of your pinky.
Yeah.
That will drive you crazy.
Watch them outsmart you every time.
Every time.
At every turn.
and if like our events, like what Pete alluded to earlier, I mean, we know that not everyone can go to, like, say, an event in March. So we have them spread out throughout the year to hopefully give you that opportunity to make at least one or two of the events so that, you can experience that. So the guy that I talked to today in New Hampshire, right? Guy's a Marine, retired Marine. Now he's a school teacher for band, which is pretty cool, I guess. And we had a good conversation about this, and he's like, yeah, I really want to get this started. And what's cool about New Hampshire, if you have, you got to wait for that ice to get thick, right? So you can do technically year-round fishing. You just got to be prepared for that ice fishing in that shanty and, dress very warm for those winter months.
I do not want to be where you can ice fish.
No.
But I actually would like to ice. I'd like to say that I've done it one time. I haven't not done it yet.
We grew up doing it. It's awesome.
Yeah.
I definitely recommend.
I mean, it sounds like if you get in a productive area, it can be very productive.
It can.
My bride, who's going to buy me the 25th anniversary boat,
She should. If she doesn't, you won't get to the 25th anniversary.
has been ice fishing. She enjoyed it.
That's nice.
So the other thing I heard you guys say is, guys in general are not going to talk about their problems. So if you ask the guy to talk to, hey, why don't you go and talk to this complete stranger about your issues? That will never, no guy I know is going to be like, that sounds like a nice afternoon of, rehashing stuff that I'm not trying to talk about. But absolutely, the guys that I fish with, it's amazing the conversations that we have when we're not even trying to have them. And so I think that's just kind of how we're wired. And it gives you the opportunity to have these no pressure conversations where it lets folks open up when in a situation that they normally would be very standoffish about. And so I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, that's one of those secondary or tertiary effects you're not even expecting. I started out doing the events and taking a few trips. And there's one thing after you do it a few times, you realize when you think back, every time it happened, but it was never meant to happen. There's no pressure. That's just where the conversation led.
Yeah, I mean, My dad always said we were always solving all the world's problems. We weren't solving any of them.
You felt like you were.
I mean, you felt like you were.
Yeah, because I remember, so when I first saw, so we're all over social media, by the way, so we got to throw that plug out. We're on like TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. We have a YouTube. We're not podcast faces by any stretch of the imagination.
Clearly, you don't have to be.
Apparently.
Yeah. Here we are.
Here we are. You're on it.
But the biggest thing is I know people receive information differently. Some like visual reading. So we also have a newsletter that we publish monthly. Recently, we just had Pete and Trey from OneCast put out some information about fishing because my wife actually made this great suggestion. She was like, when you ever read a bass magazine or a fishing magazine in general, there's always some types of tips or advice that you're going to be reading about. And for people like me who suck at fishing and my wife who just catches them left and right, she's like, why don't you reach out to somebody and get some information? So our newsletter not only encompasses like sponsors and, hey, future events and stuff, but we've asked them to help push out some information. Like the newer one coming out is cold weather fishing. So, what to look for, where to go, what type of lures to use, how deep are they compared to, spring, summer, fall months. So we pushed that information out, and believe it or not, and I told Pete and Trey this recently, we've had quite a response to that one-page insert. Like people are just fanatic over it. And it's probably been about 200 or 300 people that have complimented the articles itself on, that advice.
That's pretty much the most compliments Pete's ever gotten.
Ever.
I'll be honest. Sorry, Pete.
Yeah, no, I can't disagree with you.
I mean, I'm
wholeheartedly agree.
It's more than I've gotten, so I'm envious of it.
I try to compliment you every time I see you, just to give you one.
Yeah. I admit, you did give me one. Yeah, it's just one. I appreciate it, though.
Yeah. So a little bit of background, though, on this organization. So Dwayne Urie is our president and founder. He's Coast Guard. It's not his fault. I'm Army, so, we can do that. We can say that. I love you, Dwayne. He had this vision that he wanted to do something, give back to the military community. And so back in 2022, he was talking to some folks that started off with just, I think, 5, maybe considered staff members and 26 boaters to where we are now at 2026, where last year, I think our biggest event, we had 158 participants. So the word is getting out there. We did our first saltwater event at Town Creek Marina in Beaufort, North Carolina. And the manager of that building, that property, came out afterwards and talked to all of us and said that he would not have guessed that was our first time running it. That in fact, he says this is one of the most well-ran events that he's seen since he's been here.
Which shocked me because I tried to organize all that and I thought it was a unmitigated disaster. But I have high standard and you get the vision in your head, right?
At least you're honest there,
But the
Pete.
thing is, like we talked about the word streamline, when our warriors and boaters show up, our goal is to get them out on the water and have a good time. Let us worry about all the background and the chess pieces moving on the board in order that you don't see. That's what we do. And that's what Pete's alluding to. So, and he's right. You're dealing with your environment as well, like small parking lots and transporting. We had to transport people back and forth. But as a team, we were able to successfully make this event happen. And I'm telling you, we got people already signed up. Once we pushed them out in January, I think we're 30 or 40 just already for Beaufort, which is insane. We really haven't put a lot of effort into pushing it out on social media.
Yeah, I mean, 160 boats is a lot of boats for one event. I mean, that's as big as most really large bass tournaments are for the most part. There's a lot going on there to make all that happen. So,
and then that was
kudos to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like chaos.
It was absolute chaos in my mind. I was on the radio this is a cluster. I don't even know what's happening. And then they get done. This guy's, this is the best thing I've ever seen. And I was like, where were you watching?
Where were
but
you?
It did. I mean, the team, we had that one with this first one we had so many volunteers show up just to help with the logistics behind the scenes. Us in the organization, the board, were able to just sit down for a minute and take in what we had accomplished. And that doesn't usually happen. I mean, since the start, it's been 6 of us behind the scenes trying to direct this circus. And so it's been good. But that was 70 boats has been our biggest. So we had 158 total people with 70 boats.
Oh, okay.
I want to hit 100 boats on Jordan in April, though. So if you're a boater and you're listening, come fish with us. I think we had 62 or 63 last year. So I think we can grow that a little more.
I mean, and that's probably your limiting factor, right? You probably have
boaters.
No shortage of people wanting to go fishing, which I get, but as far as folks willing to take folks out, I think that would be a limiting factor. But it sounds like you've got right much interest, so that's great.
So if, just to get this information out there to them, if you want to come fishing or you want to volunteer and be a boater, what's the best way to get in touch with you guys?
So the website we have is www.warriorfishing.org/contact/ or just go to warriorfishing.org website itself and just kind of like look at everything. They can go under the contact tab on the upper right-hand corner. They can sign up as a warrior or a boater. The cool thing is if, say, you're a warrior, right, and you have a boat, you get to actually experience the best of both worlds. So you not only do you want to like volunteer to take people out, but because you're a veteran, you know, a warrior, you're able to also enjoy some of the free opportunities that we provide as well. So that's pretty cool.
I'd do it all day.
The times that I've done things like this, it has been, as far as being the boater, I can speak from that frame of reference because I haven't helped you guys out, but maybe that's coming. I see y'all's look in your eyes. But
there is a gleam there.
There is a gleam, especially for that 25th wedding anniversary.
Right. Yeah. Once I get this 25th wedding anniversary boat, I'm in. But no, so I have helped out with different events over the time. Some of them small pond fishing stuff, some of them taking folks fishing out on my boat. And it is incredibly rewarding. You're never going to regret that you did it. And it's a lot of fun. It's a way to give back. It's a way to just do something nice for somebody kind of out of the blue. It's never going to be time that you're like, well, probably should never do that again. So,
yeah, to any boaters that are nervous, like it doesn't matter if you catch fish or not. Obviously, we want to, but to most of these warriors, that it doesn't matter. It's just to be out and doing something that they may not have ever done before. And even the folks that have done it before, I mean, we've rekindled in people. Like, I grew up fishing, I haven't done it in 10 years. And now you take them out, next thing you know, they're sending you pictures of their new boat that they just went out and bought, and they're back into it. And it gives them that escape that we all have, to your point, when our world's going 1,000 miles an hour around us. We just want to get on the water for half a day so we don't have to think about all that stuff.
So the cool thing about our events, when you show up, there's going to be a few things that we do. You're going to get fed at the end, right? You're going to get your barbecue, or we sometimes, like in November, we have or this will be October this time around for our Sharon Harris event, but Southern Harvest comes out and caters for everybody. We have our own cooks on board. It's Don and Rick's barbecue. They'll cook. They'll get barbecue, North Carolina barbecue, because there's only one type of barbecue.
Oh man, I was supposed to be here to stop that, but I didn't know it was coming. So
it's too late. But if you haven't had their barbecue,
where are they located?
In Clayton. So they've kind of but they come to our events. There are dedicated
Johnson
cooks.
County.
What style is it?
Like Eastern
North Carolina. Yeah.
That's yeah.
Their food is really good. And a lot of people ask, is Don and Rick, cooking? And we always say yes. But yeah, we feed you for free. You get a free event t-shirt. You get a raffle of a lot of our awesome sponsors that provide us with, prize stuff for first, second, and third place, and then different categories that we give those kind of like bigger prizes to. We also have prize packs that we give to everybody that shows up, regardless. So if you're there and you say you didn't place, purpose is really not placing, it's just to have fun. We put rules to a tournament to organize what I consider the chaos, because, you do have guys that go out there and gals that are in these bass fishing tournaments and clubs, and they're all serious. But when you come out to our event, we run it like a professional event. And at the end, when they come back, they're like, wow, that was actually really fun. This was something that I can definitely get into and do it again.
Yeah, I get that. I heard you can eat. There's prize packs. There's fishing. Get away from it all.
It's hitting all the
I hadn't
notes.
heard a negative yet.
Hitting all the notes for me.
Yeah. So you do 6 events a year, but you do the one-offs. Can you do the one, if somebody's available, if a boater's available, you just tag that person in that can go with that person.
And we'll have warriors reach out to and say, hey, do you have anything coming up
I got you.
next week? And we'll put out a Facebook post and an email to our boater network. And if anybody can, then they can pick that up. We're working on some other stuff to make it a little easier, like an app type deal. So
yeah, that's the secret right now.
It's safe with us. We won't tell
it's
anyone.
a secret that Dwayne has told a lot
Nobody's
of
listening.
people.
Don't worry. You can tell whoever you want.
Now, we're just trying to again, use that word streamline, because the process we're using now is just it works. It's been working. So, you get used to that process.
But you're growing.
But if you can make it work and make it easier, where you do maybe 50% of the work and the other 50% is on them, why not?
We're at almost 1,300, and it's a spreadsheet, and you have to go through and set up email lists, and it's just
I promise you, they
you know
make a
how it
better
is.
way.
There is, and
There
that's,
is.
we're at the point now
Yeah.
where
We're working on it.
Don't ask me to do it because I don't have a clue how to do it.
Yeah, we're definitely working it. It's I would say right now it's about 80% in the finishing process. We'll have a test run on it just to kind of like fix any kinks as we move forward on it. But I really do think that this is going to be the future of Take Away Your Fishing Ink and when we move forward in the coming years, because the growth that we're experiencing right now compared to 2022, if you have to look back to look forward to move to the future. It's just amazing. We have such a great team. We have a dedicated team, people who will legitimately care about the mission, but not about themselves. And I think that's really important. And for me, when we get photos in from a trip, look, I'm the one that gets them first. And I'm like, this is awesome. Look at those smiles. I mean, look at the fish that I can't catch. That is so cool. And then we post them. And what we do by posting these on social media, then sharing them at expos and putting them in our newsletter is the empowerment. Again, we're giving others to be like, look, you can do this too. It's not just, this group of individuals. Get out there, sign up, have a good time, break bread with others. We have guys that 2 years ago, they were first together on a boat in a warrior at an event. And now they're like best friends. Like they hang out all the time. So you're building that community connection. You're building that connection with a boater or a warrior. And I mean, I've seen so many people at our events come back so many times and they sign up. They know that that's the event to be at. And it's really exciting. Now, some cold mornings will kick off like we had in November. But if you can just brave the cold for a couple hours, you're going to be all right. I promise.
And if not, you get barbecue at the end.
That's what I heard.
that'll warm you up.
That's what I heard. I heard barbecue at the end.
Barbecue and Cheerwine.
Man, I just don't know what to say about Cheerwine Piedmont people.
It's okay. I mean, they got to drink something over there.
They do. And I mean, my son loves Cheerwine. Not to get on a Cheerwine thing, but I just don't like cherry in anything.
It's a little sweet for me.
It is. It's a little much. But, I didn't grow up with it. It's okay. It's okay. I appreciate it from a distance.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad that it's
My
here
son's all about it.
for the people that drink it.
Yeah, that's right. Seemed a little judgy when I said Cheerwine, didn't it?
Yeah.
A
it's
little
okay.
strong.
I mean,
Sorry.
I was with you on the barbecue front. If there is a right answer to that.
I mean, there is a right answer to that. I mean, if you're west of certain locations,
See, not everybody knows that
just
there's
don't talk
two.
to me. Yeah, he said North Carolina. I was like, oh my gracious, man. The state is split in half. Just say it. Just throwing it out
You
there.
can email your barbecue opinions to
Bring it. Bring it. Come on.
Corey.
I'm good. Two ball biologist, ncwildlife.gov.
we will engage you in the barbecue discussions.
We will have the barbecue discussion. Maybe this will turn into a barbecue podcast at some point. You never know.
It could shift focus.
I don't think the Wildlife Commission will sponsor it at that point. They'd probably back off.
Like, what
at
are
that point.
doing?
Lack focus.
They don't want to split the state in
Lack of
half.
focus.
Yeah.
And the boss man's like,
We're all in this
no,
together.
it's North Carolina barbecue.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not. But I digress. There's two kinds of North Carolina barbecue.
Right and wrong.
Exactly. And that depends on where you live.
That's
I'll
right.
say that up front. So we talked a lot about the organization, but on this podcast, we like to talk about fishing too. So let's do a little bit of that while we got a chance.
So, were you guys aware that fish need water?
Yeah,
They do.
that's first.
That is
we
a
just
thing.
want y'all to know that.
I don't know if you figure that out. If you've ever had to have a dry land fishing event, they normally don't
Doesn't
go
work
well.
too
It's
good.
good. Yeah, that bait hits that soil, that dry soil, and it just doesn't work.
That is one thing that we really try to drive home with our listeners is that knowledge tidbit is that fish use and utilize water.
On a regular basis, like 100%.
And, the other thing that we talk about all the time is that you shouldn't move fish around.
Pete knows this.
Oh, yeah. I know this well. I love to get Corey into these conversations at shows, especially.
Well, if he's telling you not to move fish around, he's right.
Oh, I agree with him 100%.
Once in a blue moon.
I'm a supporter. I like to find the non-supporters of that theory and get him engaged with Corey and then walk away.
It causes
Yeah, he likes
That's
to
so
pick
mean.
He likes to pick the fight and then leave me to fight it. That's what he likes to do. I have witnessed it. Trust me. Been a part,
well,
partaking in that.
you're fighting the good fight. Somebody has to.
No, we fight it too. I mean,
Oh yeah. Well,
we're with you.
there's a lot of fish out there that just they're great where they're at, but they need to stay there.
I can't catch them. So
See, he keeps saying this. He keeps
Correct
saying
me
this.
if I'm wrong. You like crappie, right? That's your thing.
no trout. I do fly fishing up in the
Fly fishing or
mountains.
trout. See, I'm way off. I could not
I'm
be
a
more wrong.
Fly fisherman. I try to freshwater fish, but it's like my wife beats me every time.
What do you think trout in the mountains are?
Oh, they're freshwater,
Oh, okay.
but much
Just make
colder
sure.
environment, and a little bit more thought process behind where, what you have to use and how you have to throw, your fly line into what areas. A lot of hiking, a lot of physical. I'm just saying.
You hear that? Did you hear it?
Everything's the best if it's what you're into.
Yes, that's right. That's what I heard. That's cool.
I'm going to use that one. I like that one.
That's what makes our sport so great, right?
Yeah.
It's because you can be as technical and as sophisticated as you want to be, and it's your way, or you can go over here and you can do something else that's just as technical in a different way. And so I think that's what makes the sport so great. It's what I used to say when we had Tyler on talking about catfish. I'm not a catfisherman at all, but when we went fishing with him, I was like, there's stuff that we learned today that translates to what I do. And if I never catch another catfish, this trip was still beneficial for me, because, and I've said this a bunch of times, is there's only but so many ways a big fish can eat a little fish. And that's really all we're doing when we're fishing, is trying to make a big fish eat something that's smaller. So,
Or in my case, a small one to a small one.
So do you like mountain trout fishing?
I love
I'm
it.
assuming. Okay. So is that in North Carolina?
Mhm.
Where is that?
Yeah, up in Boone, Canton, North Carolina. So, yeah, I enjoy it. My wife enjoys it too. I mean, we do like fishing. We know how to fish. It's just, I think we put a lot more focus on the fly fishing than we do the freshwater fishing or the lake fishing.
I will say this, and this podcast has helped my opportunities and exposure to trout. There are some components of trout fishing that I have underestimated. And there's some really interesting things you can do in the western part of the state.
There's been some misconceptions that I've had about trout fishermen that I shouldn't have had.
What are those misconceptions?
I won't go into that because I don't want to alienate the audience.
Don't want to get in trouble.
Don't want to be soapboxing here. I've already soapboxed about barbecue.
Yeah. And cheerwine. Let's not forget about the cheerwine.
I'll pass the note later.
I mean, my problem was being an Eastern North Carolina guy. It's just so daggum far away.
It's far away and it's foreign to you when you don't do it. I mean, it's like everything. It's just like you guys taking warriors fishing that hadn't ever been fishing before. It's a foreign thing, and you're introducing them to that. It's just getting the opportunity to go more than anything. I'll do it in a heartbeat. I won't be good at it for sure. I mean, it's like we went muskie fishing on the podcast. I don't know if I ever go muskie fishing again.
We're not good at that.
We're not good at that at all. We didn't even see a muskie.
It turns out, though, I'm not sure anybody is good at it.
I'm not sure anybody's good
I
at it
think
either.
it's just a matter of literally trying.
And throwing very large baits.
Mm-hmm. If you try long enough and hard enough,
You'll snag one eventually.
Basically. That's what I grew up doing. That's basically what it is.
So, Pete, what do you like to do?
I mostly just bass fish.
So we got a trout guy we're at full spectrum.
We're full spectrum here today.
Full spectrum. They catfish too. So they do all the things. Like it. I'm an all the things guy.
So we're in the spring of the year. Where are you going bass fishing?
Where? Oh, man. That's a tough choice.
Like if you were going to pick a place in North Carolina, where are you going bass fishing, Pete?
Just to catch fish.
I'm letting you tell me that
There's
story.
a different. Like if I want to go catch a whole bunch of fish and have a great time in the spring, I'm probably going to go to Gaston. Gaston's a ton of fun right now. We've talked about with people moving fish. There's a certain species of bass in there now.
The Alabama bass.
The Alabama bass, and I think they're in that honeymoon stage where it's really good and they're getting big. There's still some big largemouth in there, and you can go out there and catch a pile of them.
Yeah, it hadn't turned terrible yet.
No.
It's coming though.
I know.
I've seen the chart.
I know it is.
I've seen the most recent chart. It's coming.
I know it's coming, and I keep trying to warn my friends that are like, this is never going to end. And I'm like, it's going to end.
It always does.
If I want to go look for that PB, great big double-digit bass in Central North Carolina, I'm probably going to go to Falls. Jordan has them too, but I think right now Falls is our big fish lake in central part of North Carolina. But I live on the river.
Those are two good calls.
Yeah, I like both of those.
Yeah. Me personally, the rivers of North Carolina, Eastern North Carolina, like the Roanoke, all off everywhere in the Albemarle Sound there. I fall in love with that place. So I've been spending a lot of time down there.
It's easy to fall in love with.
But a lot of people are scared to go down there, and I'm okay with that.
That just means more space for you on the lake.
No, you should definitely check it out. But local, Falls or Gaston.
Gotcha. So trout fishing, it's mainly Canton,
Boone.
Boone.
Yeah, areas. I tell you, it's on a river, but I'm not going to tell you where.
Yeah, sure.
because no fisherman's going to ever tell you exactly where they caught the
I
fish.
know the rivers in Boone and Canton, so I'm well versed in those. But that's fine. We'll leave
North
it at that.
Fork is pretty good. Yeah, that's we caught. So after Hurricane Helene, I went with a guy that's actually one of our warrior ambassadors. His name is Rich Hastings, and Rich took us out to Canton, and that whole area got completely devastated by Hurricane Helene, and we had the best fish that day. I think we caught like maybe 25 or 30 trout. It was a delayed harvest, so obviously it was catch and release. But then that June, we waited for everything to kind of simmer down and let them work up there. If you're not from there, don't go there. That was the mindset, unless you're there to help. And so they opened up parts of the river, and we're like, we know it's not been fished because no one has been up here except the locals. Got my personal best. It was about a 22, 23 inch wild spotted brown. And it was probably about 6 pounds. Took me about 20 minutes to bring in. And
It's a nice fish.
that'll be the only fish that I ever catch from the rest of my life. Little dinkers, but it was enjoyable. But you got to see the devastation firsthand. It was hard to look at. It was really hard.
Yeah, it's a lot going on up there right now, for sure. Well, cool. Yeah.
Question time.
Question time?
Question time.
We are.
Here we go.
We'll get you involved in the questions too.
Let's go.
Probably. We'll see. I don't know. I don't know if I trust you.
I feel like
We'll find
Jeopardy.
out. Go ahead. How is Corey going to get his 25th anniversary boat?
That's like the fifth time. Now you have to follow through on it.
It's not going to happen, but go ahead.
How do I purchase a lifetime fishing license for my husband as a gift? Almost as good as a 25th anniversary boat.
It's a great gift. You can go to our website, go to ncwildlife.gov. There's directions that get you into the licensing and purchasing a license. You do it all. Basically, you can do it all online now. The lifetime license is a little different. You're going to have certain information. Well, probably for an adult, you probably don't. You still have to have information, but it's cheaper when you buy it as a baby and then as a child. So you have to have birth certificates and that kind of stuff for that then. As an adult, I don't think you have to have that, so to speak. But anyway, it's a process. You just walk through it. It's all online. One of the great things about that license, a lifetime license, it is very beneficial to the state of North Carolina and conservation. When that fund was set up moons ago, I guess in the late 70s, I think. In fact, I know a gentleman who has the 16th lifetime license sold. Yeah, because it's on his card. He has the original card. Anyway, so then that was in the 70s. They put all that money in a fund, and that fund has been growing for quite a long time. And that all goes back to conservation. And it goes into an endowment fund, and we as an agency cannot use the money that is actually purchased on the license. We use the interest that comes off of that money. So that money stays forever, basically. And we do things like, one of the big things we're doing right now is we're basically rebuilding the Setzer Fish Hatchery, the trout hatchery there in Brevard, at a cost of almost $48 million. And half of that, or more than half of that money is coming out of that endowment fund. The fund is quite large now. It has been very beneficial. We've funded a lot of different projects. It's buying game lands, it's purchasing hatcheries, it's providing access. We've just done a lot of work that we could not have done if the people did not have the foresight to build a lifetime license and then provide that fund for us. So it's been really good.
I will say this. If you are a parent or a grandparent, of all the gifts that I have gotten in my life, I don't think, and I mean, I've got some nice stuff along the way, four-wheeler, that was one of the pivotal gifts of my childhood, and a rifle and fishing rods and all that stuff. But of all the cool gifts I've got, the thing that I think I have got the most use out of in terms of a gift that I got is my lifetime hunting and fishing license.
There's no doubt about it in my life.
So like if you have, especially if you can get in at the kid's price.
So there's a price from age 0 to 1. Once they turn age 1, it goes up even more. And that's from 1 to 11. And then after 12, it's considered an adult license at that point.
It's still a bargain.
It's a bargain. No matter what, it's a bargain. But that 0 to 1 is an absolute bargain. My dad bought every single one of his grandchildren. That was their baby gift. When they were born, he bought it. And he gave it to them when they turned 16 and they're required to hold a license. He kept it in a safe. And when they turned 16, he gave it to them. And he did it for every one of them. And I would advise, if they don't even use it, it'll pay for itself, I promise. Just from if you care about conservation, if your grandchild or your child never uses that license, it will go to good work in the long run.
Yeah. I tell folks all the time, they're asking me, like, what can I do? I'm like, well, step one is buy a fishing or hunting license. Step two would be to buy a lifetime.
And they'll never have to think about it again. If they're residents of North Carolina, they'll never have to think about it again.
It's the best thing I ever did when I moved here.
Yeah, I got mine when I retired from the military. And a lot of guys and gals in the military don't even know that they're, but it's also based off your disability rating that you get from the VA. So if you're like 100%, then you can definitely apply for that. It's not hard. I mean, I walked in and I walked out within 10 minutes.
Yeah, there's also age brackets where it becomes less expensive. So there's an adult license, and then after a certain period of time, it becomes less. And then it's even more less like when you're like over, I think it's over 70. It's really inexpensive when it's over 70. So if you're over 70 and you hunt and fish every year, you shouldn't be buying the annual license. You should be buying the lifetime license. It's worth the money because it's basically the cost of an annual license at that point, one time. So,
okay, Mr. Mark emailed us. First of all, he wanted to remind us that bald eagles are considered majestic. So
sure.
I'm taking the hint. I'm majestic is where I think he's going with that.
Okay, good.
I'm going to infer.
I thought he was actually talking about the bird. I was like, anyway, another soapbox. But anyway.
So he said, and we just kind of talked about this with the trout and the trout fishing in the rivers in the West. But he said, now that Lake Lure is full of water, how long does it usually take for the fishery to rebound? And will it be any different than it was prior?
It will likely be different. The lake was dammed for a long period of time, so that has an age issue with the reservoir. You're basically starting over. You're starting from scratch for the most part. Yes, there are fish in the creek that still are in the creek. When it gets dammed, they'll repopulate the lake. There'll probably be some stocking efforts by someone. Might be us. It might be, I can't remember about Lake Lure, if it's private, not private. I can't remember all that. But anyway, there'll probably be some stocking efforts at the same time in Lake Lure. But it's going to probably act differently. The structures are different. It's probably a different depth. There's a lot of things that have gone on. We've gone from what Lake Lure was to catastrophe. And I know they've done a lot of work. They've done a lot of work to get things out and to take a lot of debris out of the water and all that kind of stuff at Lake Lure. So I think it's going to be different.
I think that's interesting. So you answered that question from a different way than I did. I answered it strictly from like a fish population perspective, which was you'll be amazed to see what survived. As they spawn, they'll repopulate themselves. My advice would be to start fishing it. But I think you are absolutely right. There's going to be shoals that have moved. There's going to be new shoals. There's going to be stuff out there you never saw before. So yeah, I'm glad we picked this question. I'm glad you answered it the way you did because I looking at that question through a whole nother lens now. So
yeah, I agree with you. There's going to be fish there. They're going to repopulate. They're going to come back. Things are going to happen and you're going to have fisheries again. But yeah, I think that spot that you used to catch X off of
might be totally different.
Might be a totally different spot now.
Okay. Crappies. Lake Wiley again. I'm getting a lot of questions about Lake Wiley.
Is that in North Carolina?
No. Well, like
part of it.
Some of it is.
The northern third.
But it's a good question because we do have crappie other places, like almost every other place.
Yeah.
So
they're pretty much everywhere.
Very popular fish. What signs can I look for that tell me that crappie should be staging for the spawn in a reservoir? He said Lake Wiley. We'll answer it a little more generically.
I'll let you go first.
Okay. Here's what you need to do. Get you a thermometer. When the water temperature is consistently over 55 degrees, but not 65, that's your window. Once you hit 65, they're sliding back deeper again. But once you're in the 55 to 60 degree window, they're going to be staging pre-spawn and the start of spawn. And when you are on the front side of that, if you find them, if you catch one, don't move.
Yeah, stay right there.
Do not move. Stay there because there'll be scads of them there. You want to focus on docks, sunken trees, shallow points, sometimes even a weedy edge that's near deep water.
They're right on the edge, so to speak, at that point. Transitional habitats. Do you catch them a lot when they're on spawn?
most fish in general, when they're actively spawning, they're not actively eating.
I just curious. I don't know that I've ever fished like crappie on spawn. It's always during that transition.
Yeah, normally it's before
or just after.
And then they go missing for like
for a while.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
And you have
It's
to
like,
find them.
where'd they go?
Yeah. But yeah, to me, most of the time, I know moon has something to do with something, and photo period has something to do with something.
Something's probably supposed to bloom on the first moon.
But most of the driver for fish in general, or the variable that you can hang your hat on, and especially spawning, is water temperature
the
related.
actual spawn event, is water temperature.
So,
Getting them there is usually photo period, but the actual spawning event is water temperature.
they're going to key in on that water temperature, and they will respond once the water temperature is consistently there. Not it was there once
And then it's gone.
and then it's gone. It has to be consistently there.
No, I would agree with that. It's good advice. I'm glad you answered that. It's good, Ben.
I know that's one of the 4 things I know.
I'm glad we didn't ask you, Pete.
It's way better than my answer.
What would your answer be?
My answer is good, but it's not technical. When you just launch at pose on Jordan, and when you come out of the S turns in the river, if there's 400 boats at the last turn in the S turns, they're transitioning. That's how I know.
Or 400 boats are wrong.
They could be. They're usually there for a couple of weeks. And
Usually they're not. But
Somebody knows.
somebody has caught them and told all their friends.
it's usually what happens.
One interesting thing, and then I know we're going to be about done, but since we're talking about it and we're geeking out on what crappie do, just because it is 55 degrees on one side of the lake does not mean it's 55 degrees on the other side of the lake. So, make sure you're kind of making a little bit of a circuit, so to speak, because you may be missing it on one side when it's firing off on the other, or vice versa. You may be too late when it's firing off on the other side. So
Yeah, don't make assumptions. Go look for yourself. Well, we appreciate y'all being here. Is there anything else you'd like to say about Take a Warrior Fishing Inc. before we get out of here?
Yeah, just if you're curious or you want to be part of our organization, we'll be more than happy to help you and walk you through the process. Just go to www.warriorfishing.org and we'll be more than happy. Check us out on Facebook at Take a Warrior Fishing Inc. You'll see one of our symbols on there. Just click on it, follow, and look for yourself. The only thing is seeing is believing, is my opinion. So you go on there, look for yourself, see that we're legit. We'd love to have you out to an event or put you on a trip.
Well, we really appreciate y'all being here. Appreciate your organization.
Absolutely.
Thank you for doing that for our Warriors.
Thank you.
We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Ben, we've done another one.
This is great. This is good.
All right. We'll see y'all next time.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for listening to the North Carolina Wildlife Resources Commission's podcast, Better Fishing with Two Ball Biologists. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a positive review and share with your friends. If you have questions, you can email us at twoballbiologists@ncwildlife.gov, or for more information, visit ncwildlife.gov. Until next time, stay safe and take somebody fishing.